And then I'm just gonna say one more time, we will be using a couple of blocks for our practice today. So for today's practice, have a block nearby, and we'll make our way over to our mats, and we'll begin, as we so often do, lying down. So go ahead, make your way over to your mat, and find your way down onto your backs. And as you lie back, if you want something under your head, put it under your head. Have one block nearby that you can reach, and begin with your feet on the floor. And if it's comfortable, you might want to close your eyes. Take this time to notice the feeling of your body. Feel what it feels like to lie down with your feet on the floor, with your back on the floor, your shoulders and your arms on the floor. And as your head rests back, take a moment and just relax or soften the roof of your mouth. Notice how your body is relaxing. And just notice how you're feeling. It's a stressful time in our world right now. And it's pretty difficult to avoid being aware of the stress that is all around us. And that tends to live in our bodies. So maybe as you're lying back, you notice where you're holding some tension. A lot of us hold tension in the jaw, or in the forehead, or in the eyes, in the neck, in the shoulders, in the gut. So just kind of scan your body with your mind and notice if you are clenching or gripping anywhere. And begin to let those areas soften or release a bit. And then begin to notice your breathing. Feel your breath now as it flows into your body. And feel your breath as it flows out of your body. And let's just mindfully breathe for a while. Mindfully breathing a full deep breath in. And really with all our focus on what we're doing with our breathing, feel it emptying all the way out. So our full awareness focused on this act of breathing deeply in and out. Taking our time. Slowing down. And experiencing the fullness of the breath. This practice of deep breathing, of focusing on our breath, is such a wonderful tool for releasing this built up stress and tension that we hold in our bodies. It's such a good practice for us to just breathe deeply. So immerse yourself in it. Enjoy this act of slow, deep breathing in and out. And then you might choose to keep breathing really deeply, or you could transition to a more natural breath rhythm. But I invite you now to just take some time to to really acknowledge what's going on for you. Like, take a moment and just recognize how you're feeling. So there's this obvious stress everywhere, but there's lots going on in our lives. And like, how are you doing? How are you managing? How are you feeling? Physically, mentally, emotionally. Take some time to check in, acknowledge, recognize. And then consider what you might want to do to address how you're feeling. Like, what behavior or what concept could you focus on today to help address how you're feeling? Like, I have noticed I've been just allowing myself to be very negative lately. So I'm going to focus on being more positive, seeing the good, finding the good. So what resonates with you? Take a little time to consider what might be a good thing for you to focus on. And just breathe it in. And then maybe as you breathe out, you can release something that's, holding you back. So in my case, I'm going to try to release negativity. Breathe in a more positive perspective. And just let go of negativity, seeing the negative. But maybe you're breathing in and out something else. Just spend a little more time on this. And then after your next round of breath in and out, with your next breath in, you can open your eyes. Let's take our feet off the floor and give our knees a hug. Hug them in. Maybe sway a little side to side. Kind of loosen up your low back. Sway center, take your knees apart and breathe in. Press your knees back in as you breathe out. Do that one more time. Open up with your in-breath. And exhale, pushing the knees back together. Let's take the legs up in the air now. Your arms can drop down. And we'll just flex and point the feet a few times. Stretching into the back of the leg, calf, the ankle. Wiggle your toes a little and circle at the ankle in one direction. And then circle the other way. And then let's bend the knees and release our feet down on the floor. We're gonna, if you've got something under your head, slide it out of the way. Clasp your hands beneath your head. Let the weight of your head rest into your hands, elbows wide. Let's take a breath in. As we exhale, we'll begin to knit the low ribs into the belly as we begin to curl up head, neck, and shoulders, looking beyond the knees. And then inhale and release back. Again, exhale, knit the ribs and curl up. And inhale and release back. This time, let's knit the ribs, exhale and curl up, and then reach the arms forward towards whatever wall is in front of you. And then release back, hands can go back, release the head down, breathe. We'll again exhale, knit the ribs, curl up and reach forward. So now could you keep your ribs knitting into your belly as you start to release your head back? Can you keep your ribs knitting into your belly as your arms reach overhead? Take a breath here. And then as you exhale, take the arms up, lift your head, knit your ribs, and reach forward. Keep knitting the ribs into the belly as you start to release your head back. Arms go up, Can you keep your ribs knit as your arms reach overhead and breathe? One more time, arms come up, head comes up. Knit the ribs even more as you reach forward and exhale. And then start to roll back with the head, reach the arms overhead, breathe in, and then take your elbows out wide like cactus arms and see if you can let the back of your hands drop back toward the floor. Let's take our feet off the floor and bring our knees over our hips. And we're just going to take the knees over to one side and hold them there. Maybe you go a quarter of the way, a third of the way, or halfway or so. You're just holding the knees here, activating the side waist on the side where your knees are not, the direction that your knees are going. Take a breath and then bring your knees back and let the knees drop some amount to the other side. And just hold them there so that that opposite side waist is working to hold them there. Take a breath. Exhale and bring them back to center. Let's do that again. Take the knees over to the first side. Maybe go a little further and just hold them there and take a breath. And exhale them back to center. Take the knees over to the other side. And so it's a little bit challenging to hold them there. Take a breath. And then exhale back to center. Okay, release your feet down. And let's now find a block. We're going to place that block the medium width between the thighs, kind of halfway between your knees and your body. Hug onto the block with your legs, kind of squeeze the block a bit. Your arms can be at your side. And we're just going to lift the heels and then lift the feet and bring the knees over the hips. And then we're going to lower the feet back down. We'll let the balls of the feet come down and release the heels. So we'll take a breath in. As we exhale, we're going to hug onto the block and bring the knees up. And then we're going to lower the legs back down. Slow with control. Balls of the feet come down, heels come down. Relax and take a breath. Again, exhale, hug onto the block and bring the knees up. And then lower the legs back down slowly. And then balls of the feet and then heels come down. Two more like that. Hugging the block, bringing the knees up. And then just not letting them flop down with control, lowering them down till your heels come down. One more time. Hug onto the block, bring the knees up. And then lower with control. So turning on the lower belly here to support the movement of the legs. This time we'll hug onto the block, bring the knees up. Let's take the legs up in the air. And then without using your arms, can you use the deep low belly muscles to curl the hips up and then lower back down? Try that again. Curl the hips up off the floor and then release down. Inhale as you release and then exhale as you curl up. Inhale as you roll out. Exhale as you curl up. Inhale to roll out. Exhale to curl and lift. And one more time. Inhale to roll out and exhale to curl and lift. Great. Okay, let's take our feet down to the floor. Take the block out to the side. You might want to just hug in the knees and open them out one more time or do any other movement to free up any tension in the body. And then we're going to roll to our sides. So roll onto your side and get your forearm beneath you. So we want the elbow right beneath the shoulder. We're going to try not to sink into that shoulder. Try to push down and create some space from your shoulder to your ear. We're going to stack the knees on a bit of an angle so they're not pointing straight towards the computer. They're not pointing straight towards the wall. They're kind of on an angle. Your other hand can be on your hip. We're going to push down with the forearm and push down with this bottom knee and shin to lift the hips up. And then we'll lower the hips back down. So we're just lifting up. Let this bottom side waist lift you a little higher, and then lower back down. So this is one basic movement here, lifting up and lowering down. You could try it with your arm up in the air and lowering down. And if you want a bigger challenge, as you lift up, could you take that top leg and extend it out and then bring it back in? So you could do the leg and the arm at the same time if you like as well. Lift up, arm and leg, and then lower down. Or you could just be coming up without extending the leg, if that's better for you. So let's just do a few more of these. Come on up and lift, and then lower down. Come on up, try to lift that bottom side waist as much as you can. We'll do 2 more. Come up and extend out if you're doing that. Or maybe you're just coming up and lifting that bottom side waist. Great, good job. Let's go ahead and come on up, swing our legs forward and come over to the other side. So we have our elbow beneath our shoulder. We're going to keep some space from shoulder to ear, legs on an angle, knees stacked, other hand on the hip, and then push down to lift up. And then use your side waist to maybe lift a little higher, and then come back down. So we're lifting up, and we're coming back down. We can do that with our hand on our hip. We could do that with our top arm in the air. And if we like, we could, as we come up, extend that top leg out and then come back down. So find the option that works for you. And we'll do a few more of these. Pressing down to come up and then lowering back down. Reaching up and out, or we're just lifting up and down. Let's do 4 more. Coming up and lowering down. Coming up and lowering down. We might inhale to come up and exhale down. And last one here. Reaching out and coming back down. Good work. Let's make our way over onto all 4s now. And as we come onto all 4s, nice and square, think about a nice long spine, looking down between your hands so the back of your neck is long. We find that most of us tend to have a little bit of natural curve in the low back and a natural rounding in the upper back. So if we move into cow pose, which is arching the back or extending the spine, we can very readily arch into the low back, but we struggle to get more arch or extension in the upper back, right? And then if we round the back, we can very readily round the upper back, but it's more challenging to create flexion or rounding in the low back. So let's play around with that a little bit. As we come to neutral spine, I'd like you to think about engaging the belly a bit. So draw the belly in and even knit your ribs a little bit, like we did earlier. And then with the belly drawn in, the ribs knit in a little bit, begin to try to arch or extend your spine. So you're going to minimize arching in the low back because you're kind of pulling the belly in. And could that help you to create a little more arching or extending in your upper back? So just kind of play around with that. Keep knitting the ribs and drawing the belly in as you try to extend your spine. The chin might want to go forward because that'll extend the neck. But we're really trying to focus on the upper back here. And then come to your flat back. And then as you start to round into cat, like I said, normally the upper back will round really readily. So ease off on trying to round your upper back and just see if you can focus on creating a little more rounding in your low back. You might take your hips back slightly, and that might create an opportunity for a little more rounding or flexion in your low back. And then come back to your neutral spine. Again, draw the belly in a bit, knit the ribs a little bit, and then start to arch or extend your spine. So there's less arching and extending in the low back and potential for more extension or arching in the mid to upper back. Just play around with that. Breathe in. Then go back to your neutral. And then as you start to round or flex your spine, try to ease off on doing that in your upper back and try to deepen that in your low back. You might take your tailbone more down, take your hips slightly back to feel more flexion in your low back. So just one more time, with awareness, try both. So try extension, drawing the belly in, knitting the ribs, and extending more into the upper back as you inhale. And then go to flat back or neutral spine. And as you round, less rounding in the upper back, and try to create a little more flexion in the low back. And just see how that feels. Great. And then come back to neutral. All right, let's take some weight off our wrists. We're going to sit back on our heels. You could reach your arms forward and lower your forehead down. You could put a block under your forehead, or you could rest your head on your bent arms. But as your forehead is supported in some way, take a few breaths into your upper back. What are you breathing in? What are you focusing on this morning? Is there something you're ready to let go of as you breathe out? Okay. Take maybe one more breath in and out here. And then when you're ready, you can lift your head up, reach your arms way out in front, and make your way to downward facing dog. Here we want to really feel our hands grounding down, weight spread out through the hands. We want to feel our head just dangling, releasing off of the spine, moving the head a little bit, releasing tension in the neck. Let's create a little space between the shoulder blades, and we can pedal our heels down, bending the knee and pushing the heel down. So all kinds of different movements we can do as we come into our downward facing dog. So just kind of open up, loosen up, stretch out a bit. Notice how it feels to breathe when you're upside down. And then maybe bend your knees a little bit more and draw your hips a little further up and back. Take a deep breath in and out. And then let's walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering the heels down, ending up in a forward fold, ragdoll, arms and head loose and floppy. Really feel your feet grounding down with a little bit of softness in the knees. Let's take a breath into the upper back. And then as we exhale, we're going to draw the belly in and then start to roll ourselves up. Let the spine unfurl, just like a fiddlehead on a fern, just slowly unfurls and rolls open, eventually bringing your head up. And then I'd like you to find a block. So we're going to work on balance. Like a lot of times when we work on balance, we balance on one leg. Today we're going to focus on balance a little differently. So I'd like you to take the block and try and balance it on your head. So, and if you don't have a block, you could use a book for this. So just initially, we're just standing with a block on our head. And as you're standing, you really feel your connection to the ground. Feel the block on your head. And right now, I'm sure you're looking forward. So I want you to try turning your head to one side. See if you can look over that shoulder. And then bring your head back. And at any point in time, the block might fall off your head, and that's fine. Just be kind to yourself and forgiving, and turn your head the other way, over the other shoulder. And then bring your head back. So we all have different abilities to balance, and every day our balance is different. Some days our balance is better than others. So as we work on our balance, just, you know, if your block falls off, no big deal. Okay, so now could you, with the block on your head, just begin to walk around? And it doesn't matter where you go, just move around in whatever space you're in with the block on your head. And if it falls off, just put it back on. And when we're walking around, very naturally our gaze is forward. So as you're walking around, could you turn your gaze to one side? Even though you're walking forward, you're gazing off on one side, and then see how it would be to turn your gaze the other way. Walk around and gaze out over the other shoulder. Yeah. Great. All right. So come back to standing with your gaze forward. We're going to take the block off of our heads now. And we're going to work on balance in a different way. You can just keep the block in your hand for now. So I want you to stand at the back of your mat so that you are by one side of the long side of your mat. Because what we're going to try and do is place one foot on halfway on and halfway off the mat. Like the inner edge or the outer edge of your foot. One half is on, one half is off. And then can we walk like that forward on our mat with half the foot on and half of the foot off? So just try and do that. Walk with half of your foot on and half of your foot off. And then when you get to the other side, turn around and do it again. Walk with half of your foot on and half of your foot off. Down your mat. And when you do that, you're probably going to be looking down. And if you need to look down, look down. Or could you do that and look forward rather than looking down? If you feel like you'd like to put your arms out to the side, you can do that. But rather than looking down, could you do that looking forward? All right. So this is going to be a progression. You can always keep doing whatever we're doing, or you can try the next thing. So the next thing, so we're walking forward and we're looking forward rather than looking down. And now let's try, once you get to the other side, try walking backward. Putting one foot right behind the other, half of the foot on and half of the foot off. So we really can't see where we're going, which really challenges our balance. Because even if we're not looking down with our peripheral vision, you kind of see things. So walking forward suddenly feels a lot easier than walking backwards. Trying to place one foot behind the other, half of the foot on and half of the foot off. Now, if you want the next challenge, as you're walking front and back with half of your foot on and half of your foot off, can you turn your head to the side rather than looking forward? As you walk forward with half of your foot on and half of your foot off, looking to one side as you go forward and back. And then you could try the same thing, looking to the other side as you walk forward and as you walk back. So when we balance, we use our gaze to help us know where we are in space. And so now we're kind of taking that part of our balance equation out of the picture, and we're really challenging our vestibular system here to support us. Yeah. So that's pretty challenging, and you could keep doing that. And then our final option here is going to be putting the block back on our head and doing those same things. So walking forward and back with the block on our head, looking forward initially. And I would imagine that you might be able to guess what we're going to try next, which is with the block on your head, turning your head to one side and trying to walk forward and back with the block on your head, with your head turned to one side, going all the way forward and all the way back. And this is new to me. So I'm finding this to be a bit of a challenge myself. And then trying with your head turned to the other side. So you might be doing this with the block on. You might be doing this without the block. You might just be doing this looking forward or looking down. But just try to find something that's challenging for you. And this will be our last time going forward or backward here. So these are just some ideas of things you can do. I hear oftentimes from people concerned about their balance. So here's some techniques we might be able to use. All right, so we're going to stand at the front of our mat, and I want you to have your 2 blocks nearby. Maybe just have them off to the side. Stand at the front of your mat and find your mountain pose. Ground yourself down to stand nice and tall. As you're rooting down, reach your arms out. Inhale and reach your arms up. Stretch up. And let's exhale and swan dive forward. So your feet are hip distance, your knees can be soft, your arms and head dangle down. Go ahead and grab those blocks now. So we're just bringing the floor a little closer. Let's take a big breath into the upper back, rounding the spine. And then as we exhale, kind of draw the belly in, knit the ribs, and extend your upper back, just like we did in cow pose, but with an exhale. So inhale and round your back, and exhale and extend your spine. Try to extend into the mid to upper back with your exhale. Great. All right. Inhale, and then step your blocks out to your side. Bend your knees so your hands come to the floor. Let's step back to downward facing dog. Press down with the hands to draw the hips way up and back. Take a breath in. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. So we'll press back through your heels, lengthen through your crown, push the floor away. Feel the strength of your body here. Feel your belly supporting your low back. Take a breath. And then you might want to drop onto your knees. We're going to bend the elbows a little bit. Have your elbows pointing back rather than winging out. We'll take another breath here. And then again, you might want to drop to knees. We're going to lower all the way down onto belly. As we bring our chest down, we'll slide the heels of the hands back, letting the chest sink, lengthening toes to crown. Let's inhale and start to draw the heart forward and lift the chest up into baby cobra. And we'll exhale back down. Let's do that again. Inhale up to baby cobra. We'll lift our hands, lift the elbows up, hug the elbows in, squeeze in, activate the upper back. Then let's release the hands, release the chest. With hands down on the ground, we'll inhale up to baby cobra. And maybe we come up a bit higher into cobra. And then we'll lower back down. Let's push up to knees. Curl the toes under and lift the knees. And lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. We'll breathe in and out here. Let's look a little forward and walk our feet up towards our hands. We'll plant our feet beneath us. And then let's bend the knees and lower the hips. And I want you to just reach your arms out. Push down into your feet and legs. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale, arms down to your side. Let's do that again. Root down, inhale, reach up. Exhale and swan dive forward. Bring your hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here, lifting your hips up and back. Exhale to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale and bend your elbows just a bit. Knees could be down here. Take another breath in. Exhale and lower all the way down onto belly. Find length here. Inhale up to baby cobra or cobra. Exhale back down. Make your way up and back to downward facing dog. Take a big breath in and out here. Look a little forward. Walk your feet up towards your hands. End up in a forward fold. From here, let's sweep our arms out. Inhale and rise up, reach up. And exhale, arms down at your side. Great. All right. We're going to now, I want you to just bend over, find your two blocks, and end up folded over with the blocks right beneath your shoulders. Have your feet hip distance apart, and we're going to take a big step back with one foot, the foot closest to your device here. And so now bring your blocks in so they're, again, right beneath your shoulders. So you're in a big lunge here. And separate your feet so they're as wide as your hips. The back heel is lifted, the front knee is bent, so the hips can kind of sink into this lunge. All right, so the foot that's back, press down with that hand into the block. Take your other arm straight out to your side, and then inhale that arm up toward the ceiling. Take a breath here, and then bring that hand back down. Now, place both hands on your front knee, and then straighten your front leg and straighten yourself up. Bring your hands to your hips. Let's press out through the back heel as we bend the front knee forward. Push the front foot down to straighten the front leg. Breathe in. Exhale and bend the front knee and shin forward. Push that front foot down to straighten the front leg. Again, bend the front knee and shin forward. Push down to straighten. This time, bend the front knee and shin forward. Stay here. Think about the energy of that knee and shin moving forward, and think about that same sitting bone on that front leg pulling back. So the knee and shin are going forward, that same sitting bone is pulling back. Drop your arms down now. Sweep them forward and up and overhead. Take a breath as you stretch up. And then bring the arms forward. Whatever leg is forward, take that arm and sweep it down and behind you. Twist and open to that side. And take a breath. And then sweep that arm behind you down. Reach both arms up. Breathe in. Exhale, sweep the arms forward. The same arm as the front leg. Sweep it down and behind you. Open and twist. Breathe in. Sweep that arm down. Bring that arm back up. Both arms up. Big breath. And then let's lean forward and bring our hands onto the block. We're going to step the back foot in so we have both feet beneath us. Feet hip distance apart. Let's try that on the other leg. Take a big step back with the other leg. The leg not closest to the computer. Have your feet as wide as your hips. Then the hand that's the same as the leg that's behind you, get that hand, press it into the block, take your other arm out to the side, and inhale that arm up toward the ceiling. Press down to reach up, take a breath, and then bring that hand back down. Okay, let's bring both hands on the front knee, starting to straighten up, and then straighten the front leg and bring your torso upright. Place your hands on your hips, pressing back through the back heel, bend the front knee forward. Push the front foot down to straighten the front leg. Bend the front knee forward. Push down to straighten, breathe in, and exhale to bend. Push down to straighten. Exhale to bend. One more time. Push down to straighten, and exhale to bend. All right, let's drop our arms down. We're going to sweep them forward and up. Big breath here. Then bring your arms forward. The same arm as the front leg. Sweep it down and behind you. Inhale, open to a twist. Exhale, sweep that arm down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Again, exhale, arms come forward. Sweep that front arm down and behind. Open, breathe. Exhale, down. And reach up, big breath. Nice. Lean forward, bring your hands down onto the blocks. And let's go ahead and drop onto the back knee. And then we're going to come to kneeling on both knees. We'll set the blocks aside and we're going to go all the way back to child's pose. Sit back into child's pose. Slide your arms out or support your head. Make your way into child's pose. Take a moment here to breathe and connect with how you're feeling, what you're inviting in, what you're letting go of. Great. All right. Next inhale, lift your head up, reach your arms out, make your way to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. Look a little bit forward, walk your feet up towards your hands, plant your feet beneath you, and let's sweep the arms out. Inhale and rise up. And exhale, arms down on their side. Great. All right. We're going to use one block now. Go ahead and find your block. And we're going to come into a wide stance. Nice big wide stance here. Let's turn the right foot in and turn the left foot out. And take the block and just place it behind the left ankle, the foot that's turned out. Bring your hands to your hips. See if you can notice, is your front hip tipped down and could you level your hips? Let's push the back foot down, especially the outer edge of the back foot as we bend the front knee. We'll push this foot down to straighten the leg. Push that foot down as we bend the front knee. Push this foot down as we straighten the front leg. Couple more like that. Really feeling our connection to the ground. You know, when times are stressful, feeling where we are in space, feeling our bodies, feeling our connection to the ground is one of the greatest tools we have to stay grounded, to feel more steady and stable. So this practice of consciously feeling our feet and our connection to the ground is really essential in times like this. So let's bend the front knee and keep it bent. Let's bring our awareness now down into our center, our belly, and from right here, tip the hips over. And normally we put our forearm on this thigh, and you're welcome to do that. Or you could reach back for the block that's behind your ankle, maybe tipping over a bit further. Take the other arm forward, and then we're going to inhale that arm up toward the ceiling. We could press down to reach up and take a breath. Then bring that arm forward again and sweep it up alongside the cheeker here. Thumb up, pinky down. Reach that arm long. You could look up under that arm, or you could look forward, or you could look down at the floor. What feels better? Maybe experiment. Breathe in and out here. And then let's push down into the front foot to come on up, and you can bring the block with you. Push down into the front foot to rise up. And let's go to the other side. So the left foot turns in. We're going to turn it all the way in and turn the right foot out. Let's bend that front knee and just place the block behind the ankle. All right, so start with your foundation, feel your feet. Push this outer foot down, this back foot down to bend the front knee. And then push this foot down to straighten. Push this one down as you bend. Put this one down as you straighten. Yeah. Just keep the breath flowing. Try to keep your hips level. And do a couple more of these. Focusing on grounding as we get some little more mobility in the hips and the ankles. The next time the knee is bent, Pause there. And from your center, tip your hips over. Let this arm come either onto the thigh or reach back for that block. Take your other arm forward and inhale it up. You could press down to reach up. Take a breath. Then take that arm forward again and sweep it up alongside your cheek or ear. Pinky down, thumb up. Reach long. How does it feel to look under that arm? How does it feel to look forward? How does it feel to look down? Take a breath. Again, we're going to bring the block along. We're going to push into that front leg and foot to rise up. Great. Let's go back to the first side. Bring your feet forward and then turn your right foot in, turn your left foot out. Again, bend the front knee and set that block down behind the ankle. So we're going to have some options here. We're going to come into bending the front knee, and you could just stay here. You could stay here and reach your arms out and hold Proud Warrior. You could also tip over and hang out in side angle pose. Or if you like, as you tip over, you could grab the block in that bottom hand. You could step the block a little forward. You might step the back foot in, step the block out in front a little bit, and then could we straighten the standing leg and reach out through the back leg into balancing half moon. You could be here gazing down. You could be here gazing up forward. You could reach your top arm up. You could take your gaze up toward that hand. Lots of options. Push strongly into your bottom leg. Press out through your extended leg. Breathe in and out here. And then we're going to bend the standing leg, step the back foot down, and push into the front leg to rise up. We'll try that all on the other side. So turn the left foot in, turn the right foot out. You can just set that block down behind that ankle. Let's go ahead and bend that front knee. Again, you might decide you just want to hang out in Proud Warrior and focus on taking up space, being proud and confident. You might tip over and hang out in side angle, broadening the chest and back. Or you might try taking that block, stepping the back foot in a bit, stepping the block out a bit, and then straightening the standing leg as you press out through the heel of the other leg. Your gaze might be down, your gaze might be forward, your gaze might be up, you might reach your top arm up. Lots of different options here. Wherever we are, let's breathe deeply. And then you could bring your hand back on your hip if your arm is up. Bend your standing leg, place your back foot down, push into the front leg to rise up. Great. Turn your feet forward. Let's just walk our feet in. All right. We're going to come down to sitting. We're going to use the block. So we're going to come down to sitting, and I want you to have your block sideways, and then I want you to sit on your block. And it's a little thing to sit on, but it's big enough, I can guarantee, because what you're going to find you're sitting on is your sitting bones. That's what we sit on. That's what supports our spine. And the nice thing about sitting on the block is sometimes it helps us build an awareness of what it feels like to be sitting on your sitting bones. So once you're sitting on that block, kind of move around a little bit so you can really feel your sitting bones. And feel how those create this foundation from which the spine can rise up. Can you think about roots growing down into that block from your sitting bones? Set your roots down, down, down into the block, into the ground beneath you. The deeper the roots, the more solid, steady, secure we become. So send your roots down first, and from that rooted foundation, invite your spine to rise up. And so from this rooted and tall position, just connect with this line of your spine. We're going to try and rotate the torso around that line of the spine. So let's take the right hand across and the left arm just behind for support. And we're going to twist to the left. And what we're going to find is that the hips are going to want to turn. So I want you to think about keeping your navel facing forward, not letting the pelvis turn. We're going to try and twist from there up. So right hand comes across, left arm goes behind, root to rise, bring your navel so it's facing forward. Take a breath in. And then spiral your ribs, your chest, and your shoulders around to the left. Your gaze follows. And as you twist around that line of your spine, notice if that left hip bone has drawn back. Think about drawing that left hip bone back toward your midline to stabilize your lumbar spine, and then let your thoracic spine, your mid-back, your upper back spiral around. And then take a few deep breaths here, in and out. Feel the breath move in and down. Feel the breath empty all the way out. Breathe in what you're breathing in this morning, what you're focusing on, offering yourself. And breathe out something you're ready to release and let go of. So much going on in our lives, in the world. Breathe in the positive. Breathe out the negative. Let it go, release it. Let the breath empty all the way out. Maybe one more round like that. And then unwind yourself back around. Again, root your sitting bones down. Feel that line of your spine. Just keep that line as it is. As your left hand comes across, your right hand goes behind. Try to think about your navel not turning, your navel staying forward. Take a breath in, and then spiral your ribs, chest, shoulders around to the right. Check to see if that right hip has drawn back. Draw that hip bone back toward your midline, and then spiral the upper body around the other way, and then use your breath. Let the in-breath draw in something that you are needing or offering yourself, and let your out-breath be an opportunity to let something go. Blow it all the way out. Release it. Couple more rounds like that. And releasing back around. All right, good job. Let's come off of our block and we'll begin to transition to lying on our backs. So take a few moments now to set yourself up to be warm and comfortable. You might use a blanket or a pillow or something to go under your knees. You might put on a layer or put on some socks. Or you could even transition onto your bed if you're in your bedroom. Whatever feels good. Set yourself up to be warm and comfortable, lying with your legs out, your arms at your side, your head kind of centered. You might, shift and wiggle a little bit until you feel centered and able to relax. Could turn the light off if that's better. And as you lie back, just let go of any need to do anything now. Just let your body find its way into relaxation on its own. You don't need to direct it. Just open up and allow it to happen. Our bodies have so much wisdom. And most of the time we're telling ourselves what to do, how to be, how to act, how to behave. But this time now is just about allowing the body to find its own way into relaxation. Just let it be. Let it relax. Let it soften and open. Certain parts of the body go first. Like certain parts of the body relax right away. And other parts of the body are so habituated to holding things tight that it's a little more challenging, especially if you've experienced like an injury. So maybe you hold yourself more protectively in an area where you've had an injury. And can you allow that area to soften a bit, to open and relax? Maybe we've been hurt emotionally. And so we hold our hearts very protectively. We try to keep ourselves from being hurt again. But in this quiet, peaceful space, can we let the heart soften and open a bit? In front of the heart and the back of the heart. Just kind of freeing up space in the whole central area of the chest and back. So much of our habitual tension is in the muscles in the face, the head, the neck. And you let those areas soften and smooth, release and relax, allowing them to let go, to release, to smooth out. Just spend a little time as you are here now, open and relaxed. Every day is different. Every moment is different. Some days we need one thing, some days we need another. Maybe today you need to just lie here a bit longer. And just enjoy this relaxation. And feel free to give yourself permission to do so. For those who want to move on, you might begin to open your eyes or place your feet on the floor. You might roll to your side. And you might spend some time there. You might push yourself up to sitting. Always nice to take a little time at the end of our practice for some reflection or for gratitude practice. So from my heart to yours, I wish you a wonderful day. Peace. And maybe you want to say hello or goodbye, you can come on over. If you want to head off on your day, that's fine too. Thanks for being here either way.